Great. Okay, well, the first question I want to jump in with is, how important to you are British standards?
So, to me personally, I think British standards, or BS, or any standard itself, is really a key. It's a key to letting you do things. It's key to unlocking doors, to allowing innovation and product development to happen.
Yeah.
If you don't have that standardisation, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a wild west out there.
Yeah.
What unfortunately we see with standardisation, and I've been lucky enough to be involved with some development of standards across the many years over a previous employer, and now I help to put together some guidance on some standards that's there. We see so much innovation take hold that standards actually lag development. So for a standard to actually have a rightful meaning and not to look like it's out of date by the date it's actually printed, it's really hard for them to catch up or keep up the pace, because innovation at the minute is so fast.
Yeah.
So without then watering down the standard and making it so wishy-washy that it has no substance to it, because you want to leave a lot of it open-ended to allow for development, we have to see things come out and a line drawn in the sand, and people say, that's it, no, whatever's in it is in it, and let's publish it, and then we'll have to revisit it in another 3 or 4 years' time. And that's why we're seeing that's why people are seeing a lot of me, because standards change quite a lot in our industry.
Yeah.
And I think that pace will continue to happen. So personally for me, the change in regulations or change in standards is great, because it means I've got something to talk about.
Where just out of curiosity, where are you seeing the most innovation within the construction products, would you say?
It's probably all down to, lighting throughout.
Yeah.
There's always a lighting. This does a bit better, does it more efficiently, and that's really the drive for a lot of things now. Is a sustainable, and how we can move across with energy efficiency is a really big winner for a lot of people.
Okay.
Then you look at actually what are we trying to do is deliver a building for the future, not just for now but the future.
Yeah.
So then it's longevity. So then people are asking, right, okay, so it's all very well and good that having something that's going to last 5 years, but what about actually the longevity? Can you expand the lifespan of things? And we're seeing a lot of that.
Okay. And
that's where we're starting to see a lot of the innovation is in those sort of areas.
Right.
When it's your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
So conduit and boxes and stuff like that. I mean, you can recognise a conduit box if it's 5 years old or 100 years old, couldn't it? It's the same.
Yeah.
But I think from what you've been telling me today, this is probably the area where innovation could really pay off, because the savings here are enormous. If you guys get it right in your research and development team, that will get paid off in when I'm actually fitting it. If you can show people, actually you can reduce the time of installation by however many fold, that's the real energy, the real big spinner, because at that point you're saving energy, you're saving money.
Yeah.
That's the big one, and you come all of a sudden the project comes in at a lot less money.
Exactly, yeah. And then, when people are, there seems to be with contractors, and I'm only basing this off conversations that I've had, and I'm not a contractor, obviously, but there seems to be that there's the focus on that job, and that's it, and then there's no thinking about the future. But
this industry, we fit and forget. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We just want, does it work? That's fine. Now I'm leaving. I'm getting on to the next one. And you want to fit and forget, and that's what you do as a Sparks. You want that reliability to be there, and you want to ensure that you're buying the stuff that will allow you to do very much fit and forget. If you're buying and purchasing stuff that means, I've got to go back to that job again and change it again, you very soon stop buying that stuff and move on to something that's a bit more reliable.
Exactly. So we had a conversation with a young contractor called Theo Webster. This is going back to last year when he came in. I think it was July. And not to, this is our platform, so we can do what we want, but a bit of a shameless plug for one of our innovations, which is Conlock. And one of the things that he liked about it was because he knew that he was going to save X amount of time, and he can then plan the next job, and it just makes his life easier.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Stuff like that is brilliant, because time, if you're a one-man band, you're a small, medium enterprise listening to this, time is everything for you. Likewise, if you're those really big projects, fitting that stuff and then really big projects, you could see the man days coming down, which to you is absolutely wonderful. to the end client, it's quite nice as well because they get a bit of money back.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just saves that time. And that Conlock is, for me, it's a great way to go.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what we like to hear. And if any Spurs fans are out there watching, you can go and have a look around your new stadium because it's in there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's an excuse to go to Spurs, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to have some reason to go.
I'm not a football fan. I don't hold Darren's views.
Coming from a Notts County fan.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
there you go.
So coming back then to the standards, you've said that they're important. We know they're important. I mean, if we talk about conduit tube, for example, we know what we need to do for our products to meet those standards, and we also know what markings are needed on every single length so that they comply. But we also know that we would argue that it's quite easy to bring non-compliant product and flood the market with that.
Yeah. There's not a lot of checking that's done in the purchasing end of it.
Yeah.
There should be checks and balances that are done on the installation, the pre-install stuff, but the actual purchasing sort of side of stuff, you can go online to Alibaba.com and see whatever you want, and you can buy a load of it and get it delivered.
Exactly.
But then it comes down to compliance, and the compliance is the big thing, because it should be then down to whoever is signing the certificate for the design, the installation and the inspection test part of it.
Right.
They're the guys that have got to say, no, hold on a minute, that's not coming on my site, and I'm not putting that in because it doesn't comply with whatever's in BS 7671 or any other specifications that the job also has upon it. So this is a big thing about really making sure that the people on site or the building designers really know what's what.
What do you think that current situation is? I've no doubt that there's going to be people who have that level of responsibility that take it bloody seriously, and they know what they need to do, and they will absolutely turn things away that aren't to standard. But do you think that's the exception or the rule? It
depends. I'd say if you look at the smaller end of the market, those guys where there aren't the mechanisms for the checks and balances to be done.
Yes.
They will just be buying, probably without knowing, substandard stuff.
Right.
So we see that a lot.
Yeah.
Having said that, you go to the other end of the market, the larger, the bigger jobs. I mean, these guys have all got ISO standards 14011, environmental management systems. So they've all got those bits in. So they should be doing the checks and balances before it gets anywhere near site. They should be doing that. So it should all get picked up there. It's these other people that are buying stuff maybe off the internet without knowing where it's sourced before it gets onto that website. They're the ones that are getting caught out. Sometimes they're doing it knowingly.
Yes.
So they're buying product. I do have to say, I know that there are some unscrupulous, obviously no one listening to this, but there are some who would just say, I'm just buying it because it's cheaper. But then there's those that will just be buying it because they think they're getting a deal. Actually, they're not. Yeah.
Do you ever worry about the quality of product coming into the market? And if I can, if you talk about the construction industry, the construction products as a whole, but if we could try and keep it on items like tube and channel and products that are more pertinent to us, do you worry about those products coming in that are inferior?
Well, there was a horrific event which is Grenfell. Grenfell happened, and then the Dame Hackett report came in off of that, and quite rightly so, there were some really big recommendations, and we're still seeing the ramifications of those recommendations now.
Yeah.
And one was the golden thread, to ensure that everything from conceptual stage of the building all the way through to designing it, costing it, drawing it up, actually constructing it and making it, then maintaining it, every single part of that, there would be a golden thread that run through. Mm-hmm. And if that is truly observed, I think we're in a really good place.
Yeah.
However, this is where we see that there has to be some time allocated to allowing people to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And this is when you see so much pressure put on people to deliver these buildings and these projects. And I know my father-in-law is a senior project manager, and he's working on some really, really big buildings, and the pressure put on them just to get the job done because they want to meet the deadline and get the payment off the end client. It's enormous, and those financial pressures always put pressure, and you have to look then which bit can we circumnavigate.
Yeah.
And one of the bits that tends to get missed is the quality. You look at the industry, the whole construction industry now. There used to be clerk of works that used to go around and watch or check your work before they'd sign the check to say, yeah, you can have payment. Yeah,
Wow.
I like it. No, there's none of them around now. And this is again where one area where the construction industry went to make savings was to make those jobs redundant, those types of jobs redundant. But there's still the need for that checks and balances to be done.
Yeah.
But it's got to be pushed on to someone else.
Wow. Okay. No, see, I didn't even know that. Oh, I mean, that was one of the questions. How do we, how do we ensure compliance across the board? But if we haven't got those roles in place, it is that Wild West.
It is
mentality.
Really. Yeah, it is. It can be. Not always, because one thing I will say about Sparkies is they always want to do it well.
Yeah.
And this comes out.
This is not a condemnation of Sparkies, wholesalers, or manufacturers as a whole. I need to make that very, very clear. In fact, we'll put that at the start, Tom. Thank you.
I mean, everyone wants to go out there and do a good job.
Yeah.
They know for whether they do a good job, it leads to another job after that.
Yes.
And you're only as ever good as your last job. So Sparks generally will want to do it well. And they find that the compromising factor there is price. So how can I do it just as well for less money? That's what then sometimes wins them the job. And without doing that act of trying to get the job down or get the materials as low as possible, they won't win the work.
Right.
And that again is where education is a massive piece here, because we haven't just got to educate the contractors, the specifiers that are listening to this. We've got to educate the people that are actually ordering the work.
Yeah.
So the homeowners, the building designers, to say, you do know, yeah, if you're going to ask for a £10,000 job, that's all you're going to get is a £10,000 job.
Yeah.
Reality is, you want a £25,000 job if you want it done properly and forever.
Exactly.
And that's the big bit. And I think that's probably what we're trying to do here at CEF as well, is to say, look, yeah, we can pretty much, we can deliver for everyone. But part of the project team that we've got is to say, look, you tell us what you want us to do, and we'll go away and make it happen.
Yeah.
When they don't really know what they want,
Yeah.
we then have to step in and help them and say, look, this is what £10,000 gets you.
Yeah.
This is what £25,000
But that's the responsibility you take on, surely, in that position.
We have done a lot. So yes, at CEF with the National Accounts and Projects Division, they do a lot of that hand holding, because clients sometimes really don't know what they want. They understand they want lights and they want switches and sockets. Yeah. I want this, and I know where they're going. But our stuff tends to get fitted, forgotten, and people don't go back and looking at it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one cares if the conduit's in and what colour it is. They just want to make sure the lights or sockets work. That's the bit there. They understand functionality. They don't understand safety.
Yeah.
And my old boss, Alan Wells, he used to always say that functionality is not an indicator of safety. And I think that's the big bit here. We've got to educate those building designers, those people that maintain buildings, to tell them, look, just because it works doesn't mean it's safe.
Absolutely.
And that's where we need to get that big education piece out there. And then that comes back into quality. And then that comes back into sourcing products properly as well.